Our chronological Bible reading for June 28th is 1 Kings chapters 20 and 21. King Ben-Hadad, whose name means son of the storm god, decides to go up against Israel. So often when the enemies of Israel would go to fight them, it was under God's direction to bring about judgment. God would allow his people to be threatened or attacked in order to get his people to pay attention to what he's been saying. God ordains this tribulation in order to get his people's attention. The same is true today when we are attacked, whether it's our health or in finances or in some other way. When we are feeling the discomfort of pressure in this world, it's specifically ordained by God. The same was true for King Ahab. And even though Ahab was a wicked king, God was saying to him, I'm giving you a victory over this vast army. I'm going to deliver them into your hand, and you will know as a result of your victory that there is a God in heaven, and I am that God, and I want to have a relationship with you. A prophet approaches Ahab, delivers this message. They have a back and forth where Ahab is asking questions. But out of desperation and really having no alternative, Ahab decides to obey. He sends out his 232 provincial leaders and his entire army that is about 7,000 men against this King Ben-Hadad and the 32 kings that are under his kingship with all of their armies. Because God ordains the timing of the attack and tells Ahab that he is to go on the offense, Ben-Hadad is not expecting that. He's getting drunk with his friends, and instead of giving sound advice, he, in the foolishness that comes with pride and being overconfident, he says, take them all alive. Because he handicapped his vast armies, they suffered a terrible routing and they had to run for their lives. The prophet then returns to Ahab and says, think carefully about what you're going to do, because in the spring, this Ben-Hadad is going to come back and fight you again. There's no evidence that Ahab had repented of his sin or that he was in any way worthy of having God's deliverance the first time, much less a second time. However, because Ben-Hadad believes, foolishly thinking that Yahweh, the one true living God, would be incapable of defending Israel a second time if they were to fight in a valley or in a plain, God once again routs Israel's enemy to show that there's nowhere you can go in all of creation where God isn't God. Ben-Hadad is delivered such a devastating loss that he surrenders and comes out of hiding and begging for mercy that his life might be spared. It's important that we remember this man's name means son of an Aramaic deity. Ahab, without pausing, declares that this man is his brother. He is choosing a brotherhood with someone whose very name and identity hinge upon a false god that is opposed to the one true God who has delivered him now twice in the last few months. Friendship with the world is enmity with God. Even after receiving supernatural deliverance twice, Ahab chooses the world and rejects the God of Israel, the very one he is supposed to be serving and representing. We are representing God in this world. We are priests. A priest is a representative of God to the people and of the people to God. It's similar to being a shepherd. Occasionally, a lion or a bear might come by. The shepherd is not trying to protect or keep the peace with the lion or the bear. He is driving them far away from the sheep, and he will kill them if necessary. As we get closer and closer to God and are transformed into his image more and more, we begin to see with greater clarity who are the sheep and who are the lions, the bears, and the wolves. Our job is not to try to convert the wolf, the lion, or the bear. Our job is to protect the sheep. When Ahab says of this evil, wicked king Ben-Hadad that man was his brother, Ahab was declaring emphatically that he himself was a wolf in sheep's clothing rather than a shepherd. There's a subset of Christians today who mistakenly refer to every human being as an image bearer of God, while the potential is within every human being to bear the image of God. When they're more focused on what they can take from people than what they can do to protect them or bless them, they are not bearing God's image. It's not because they don't have that potential, it's because they're making a conscious decision to serve themselves rather than others. And that is opposed to the nature of God. Ahab met the God of Israel, saw his supernatural protection and provision, and turned his back on him willingly in order to be a friend with the world. And Ahab, instead of repenting, when he's confronted by the prophet, he goes home resentful and angry. When we are confronted with having done something wrong, we have the option of humbling ourselves and repenting, or remaining proud and becoming angry. Ahab chose pride. Later, Ahab is confronted again, and judgment is pronounced again because of the way he murdered and stole from Naboth. Only this second time, he humbled himself. And because he humbled himself, God says this judgment is still going to take place, but it won't take place during your lifetime. It will happen in the next generation. Even this evil king who had made all of these terrible choices, who led Israel into sin, who married Jezebel, who hated the prophets of God and hated God himself, even this king Ahab receives grace from God when he humbles himself. How much more so is God quick to give grace to all of us who will humble ourselves? The primary currency of heaven is humbling ourselves, saying, God, you're right. I am wrong if I'm opposed to you in any way. May we all learn the lesson of this. May we be a people who are humble before God and humble before other people. May we be like Moses, who was one of the greatest men to have ever lived and who was the most humble on the entire earth during his day. Let it be in our lives, O God, for your glory and for our good, and so that your kingdom might advance in us and through us. We'll see you tomorrow.